If you read over the document and you have any questions, feel free to email me or text or call. I'd love to talk about it with you. Last thing is I'd like to bring a few more concerned neighbors. Every neighbor I've talked to is concerned about this, but I don't want to waste their time. I want to bring them when the general plan is actually going to be discussed. I don't have a good feel for when that might be. Is there any idea here when those discussions may start to happen on the agenda?
I don't know. Do you?
It's the next priority that we have, for sure. So in terms of the next meeting or the meeting after that, I think the next meeting, work session, more than likely, I would suggest we have a game plan or strategy to determine what meetings we have. So we need to have a kickoff meeting, so to say.
Yeah.
So I suspect the next meeting, we got to get through the budget, really has become the priority.
So it's likely it's going to be the meeting after the next meeting then?
This meeting tonight, we finish up with the approval of the tentative budget.
Okay.
And then we'll get into other stuff after that. You're specifically talking about the general plan, right?
Yeah.
I would say June 16th work session would
Yeah.
probably be the next 5:30 when we would probably discuss it. You know, it might change, watch for the agenda on Friday night when it goes out, but I would say June 16th tentatively what we're.
But he would not, he's saying he maybe wants to bring some neighbors.
Right.
And comment, which the work session wouldn't be a public hearing. So
No,
you
but they
wouldn't be
could
able to-
comment during the open session in the city council meeting
Okay,
of like, we
that's
just
fine.
heard
I just want
this and
him
here
to-
are our thoughts so far, if they want to do it that way.
Which is fine, I just wanted you
Okay,
to
yeah, thank
understand
you.
the way that would look.
Right.
There'll be public hearings along the way, regardless of council, you can decide where they are and what that looks like, but
Okay.
definitely for sure, prior to any approval, there'll be a public hearing open to the public to get
And
in.
you realize the general plan covers,
I know, there's
More-
a lot. There's a lot.
yeah, it's a plan for those cities, it's not
Yeah.
Port Orleans. Okay.
Yeah.
I would still bring your people. I'm the rebel. I was where you were for a long time. And so your strategy, I would bring the people on the 16th and let us hear from them. The general plan, if things go kind of the way I would like, it's going to be strung out over quite a while so that we can have plenty of time to look at each area.
Okay.
But for you to try to watch that and time it on that right area, I would bring the people so that we have that information, because I'm going over it a little bit almost every day and making notes, so I can put that in that area, and then you can contact us again as you're watching us go through it. But I would bring those people in and let us hear from them, because I think it's important that we hear from the people.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
And hopefully, Lon, I know that our Public Works Director, Mike Carlson, caught up with Sherry Lindstrom in the hall.
I received a letter this week.
Hopefully you were out there, maybe you were sitting here listening to our meeting.
I was in here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but she kind of briefed me on it.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought you meant specifically discussing Porter Lane. Yeah, Brett and I have been talking
Yeah, I don't know when
about
that's going to happen.
getting the general plan boom as soon as we
Right.
can, so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
All righty, thank you.
thank you.
Others?
Hi, everybody. My name's Joey Wilson. I live on the northwest corner of the city in the Woods Park Division. I'm having a little bit of an issue that I've been working on for the past year and a half with the city. I've been talking with Mike Carlson. Is he here, by the way?
Yes.
Is he in
We
the back
have
there?
staff back
Hi,
there.
Joey, good to see you. So the issue here, if I can just give you a little bit of context, because I think it's important here. UDOT bought our HOA's property when they had to put in the new construction on the highway, on the freeway there.
The West Davis corridor.
West Davis
Okay.
stuff, yeah. So they took over the property that we were we owned, our HOA owned it, and we kept it really nice. Had grass and everything. They had to take it, nothing we can do about that. They bought it from us, and they put in a new sidewalk, brought the frontage road over a little bit, and they left a little strip between our neighborhood and the sidewalk. And that has drainage systems. UDOT is if you go look at the parcel, UDOT is the owner of that land. It's not being maintained. So the first thing that I did is we were kind of like, this is kind of a mess over here. Trash is building up in there. So I approached UDOT and just said, hey, are you guys going to maintain this? UDOT pointed me to State Code 73-2-102. And that basically passes the responsibility down to the city. And they said, look, in these situations, this is a common situation, it has to go to the city. So I, of course, contacted the city, said, hey, here's what the code says. The city responded, Mike responded and said, actually, city code 1102-030 references park strip maintenance and says that's basically on you guys because you are the abutting property owner is the term that's used in the legal documents. We are not the abutting property owner. And the reason I can say that with confidence is that we don't own the land between the sidewalk and our fence. It's not like Park Strip where my land comes up to the sidewalk and I need to mow the lawn on that other side of the sidewalk, right? This is frontage road, Park Strip, sidewalk, UDOT land, our HOA fence lines. So Mike referenced that, hey, you guys are just like all of the other HOAs along the frontage road, you just need to take care of it yourself. But if you go look at the map, you will see that every one of those HOAs along the frontage road is the abutting property owner. In our case, we do not own that land, and there are drainage systems in there that I'm sure you don't want us crawling around it. There's, possibility of screwing those up, putting stuff in them that, whatever. The land needs to be maintained. We're not trying to pass the buck on anybody. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's probably would be easier for us to go out there with our loppers. But the city needs to give us an answer, and it's been a year and a half. And I don't want to throw Mike under the bus or Lisa or anybody who I've been emailing, but I've been emailing about this issue for a year and a half. And I recently sent another follow-up to Mike and Lisa and maybe one other person, I can't remember, and said, any word on this? And keep in mind, this is 18 months in now since I first emailed. They didn't respond. And so I'm here to bring it to the public and do it here. So that's kind of where I'm trying to get this done.
Thank you. I've heard what you said. I'll have to talk with Lisa. I'll have to talk with Mike. I don't know that other council members, if you've texted or emailed any of us or not.
I have not, because I haven't brought it to this level
If you've emailed me,
yet.
I've missed it, but.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't brought it to any of the city council at this point.
Yeah.
The only ones I know for sure, Mike and Lisa have been on those emails. And what I would love is if you have a different legal analysis of where I'm wrong about my argument, I would love to hear it. I'm open to that. I'm not trying to get away with something here. But we are not the abutting property owner, so you can't put the Park Strip ordinance on us there, or whatever it is, ordinance or.
It might be helpful to see specifically what you're talking about. When I just pulled up the Davis County property search just to see, I can't see where it is different than what Mike has said. So it might be helpful if you have a map that you could show us.
I absolutely
So I
can.
could understand exactly where you're talking
Yeah,
about.
would you like to do that now?
We probably can't talk about it because it's open session, but I'm
I've
just
actually
saying.
already had, that's been in my emails to Mike and Lisa, is an actual screenshot of the exact, the property.
If you could, maybe just email it to us so we can see it.
Would that be the next step to kind of, is just email the council members and just kind of, maybe I can just forward the chain so you can see the dates that everything was said, and yeah, I'd be more than happy to show you the map and show you where there's, and the reason why is it's just this little sliver where UDOT had to put those drains in, and so that's why they kept the land. Otherwise, we would love to own it, and we'll go do whatever we want, we'll make it look awesome and put some rocks up and, make it look nice. But right now, it's just growing weeds and who knows what back there, dead raccoons and stuff. So it's a little bit of a mess. So, all right, next step then would be I'll email everybody. And yeah, like I said, I'm totally open to a different legal analysis, but I would like to actually have a decent answer on this because then it just seems like it's been so long.
Yeah, get a map to us, and I'm one that's a visual guy, so I'll probably take a ride out there with Mike or something to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if, I live on the other side of the fence. So if you would like I'll give you my contact info, and I work at home, so I can easily just jump out of my desk and walk around the fence and come meet you guys and kind of show you what I'm seeing. So, okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
your time.
Joe.
I appreciate you guys. I really do. Thank you.
Others for the open session? All right, seeing nobody else, we will move on from the open session. Let's go to our business items. Thank you, see you. Approving the interim budget tonight, or adopting the interim budget, there's some new things that are required because of truth and taxation. I went to the league meeting yesterday. I want to say what I responded to them on what I thought of their new truth and taxation stuff. But anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try and follow it. So the first item is a notice to the public. The city intends to state in the public meeting that the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget includes a proposed property tax rate increase. Okay, so if you recall, council, when we approved this, was it 4 weeks ago, Brent had to make these statements. And now I get to make these statements, okay? So I'm going to read to you on this that this agenda item is to provide notice to the public that the city intends to state in the public meeting that the city is considering levying a tax rate that exceeds the city's certified tax rate, and the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget includes a proposed property tax rate increase. So I think by making that statement, then I have met that notice, correct?
Yes.
So anything we need to do on that, or can I go into 2? Because that's not anything we're voting on there. Just making a statement there. Okay? All right, so we're okay going to item number 2?
Just really quick, at least in the staff report, it said that the mayor should also read into the record the second paragraph and the bullet points listed in the background. Do we need to do that before we move on?
I think that's the next one, the actual statement.
That's in the
Oh,
next one.
okay, we're
Yeah.
moving on. Sorry, just making sure we're covering all our bases.
Okay, the next item, moving to item number 2 on our agenda. This is a taxing entity statement that the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget includes a proposed property tax rate increase. This does have a resolution with it, Resolution 2026-13. So the first thing I will read is this agenda item is to provide the city council as the governing body of a fiscal year taxing entity the opportunity to state in the public meeting that the city is considering levying a tax rate that exceeds the city's certified tax rate, and the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget includes a proposed property tax rate increase. The city council statement is intended to include and satisfy the fiscal year taxing entity obligation under Utah Code 59-2-919 4BI. And that I also need to read, the second paragraph, okay. The city council as the governing body of a fiscal year tax entity shall state at the public meeting of the city council held on June 2nd, 2026, that the city is considering levying a tax rate that exceeds the city's certified tax rate, and the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget includes a property tax rate increase. The Centerville City is considering levying these are the bullet points. Centerville City is considering levying a tax rate that exceeds the city's fiscal year certified tax rate. The second bullet point, the approximate dollar amount of the additional ad valorem tax revenue that would be generated by the proposed tax rate increase is $369,103. The third bullet point is the purpose for the additional ad valorem tax revenue that would be generated by the proposed tax rate increase includes funds for new police officer position and related equipment and operational costs, medical insurance increases, and the South Davis Metro Fire Assessment increase. Additional information regarding the purpose for the additional tax revenue is set forth in the taxing entity's proposed property tax statement. The fourth bullet point, the approximate percentage increase in ad valorem tax revenue for the city based on the proposed tax rate increase is 15.84%. And the fifth bulletin, if the city proceeds with the proposed tax rate increase, the city will provide notice of and conduct a public hearing as required by law at which members of the public will have an opportunity to provide comments on the proposed tax rate increase. Okay, I think I've done all my reading on that one. Did I miss anything on that one?
Just the reference to, in the third bullet point, is the property tax impact schedule. I think you just said tax statement. So just that correction to the third bullet.
Okay, so on the third bullet point, the one that says the purpose for the additional ad valorem would be generated by the proposed tax rate increase includes that one?
Last sentence.
Last sentence, okay. So how do I need to clarify that?
Just that referencing the taxing entity's proposed property tax impact schedule.
Okay. So the additional tax rate was set forth in the tax entity proposed property tax impact schedule. Okay, so this is resolution 2026-13. And this resolution goes over what I just read. And so is there questions on resolution 2026-13 for Nate or for Brant at all, or myself? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve resolution 2026-13?
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed property tax rate increase resolution number 2026-13.
Second.
A motion is second for the discussion. Okay, well, let's take a vote on it. Councilwoman Meekum?
Aye.
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 Councilman Bangerter?
Yes, this is Councilman Bangerter. I'm going to oppose and vote nay for the reason I do support that we do need somewhat of a property tax increase. I believe that we could have done so with a lesser amount by making some specific cuts, belt tightening in other areas. And so I'm opposing the resolution based on the fact that I think at 15.8% is too high.
Okay, so we have 4 yeas and 1 nay. All right, let's go to item number 3. This is the tax entity's presentation of the property tax impact schedule. This is resolution 2026-14. So I'm going to present that. You've seen it before. That's in your material. So it's just beyond the resolution. So the property tax impact schedule, this shows the 369-103 that I referenced earlier. Nate, do you want me to continue to go on, or might?
Please go ahead.
Okay. The approximate percentage increase of 15.84% in tax revenue is based on the proposed tax rate levy of 0.001390 and would generate approximately $369,103 in additional property tax revenue for the city. The projected $369,103 in additional property tax revenue is included in the presented interim fiscal year 2026-27 federal general fund budget. The proposed increase in tax levy is being proposed to fund the following: medical insurance increases, $83,401. New police officer position, $250,000. South Davis fire assessment increase, $35,702. Those 3 amounts equal the $369,103. And then in the property tax impact schedule, which you all have and the public has too, obviously, because it's put out with the packet, it then goes on to show our current property tax rate, proposed rate, and And then we have more detail making up the 83,401 of the medical increases by each department. I won't necessarily, I don't think that I'm required to go through that by department. It's there in front of you for you and the public. But the 1, 2, 3 was what, about 10, 11 departments equal to 83,401. You see the 250,000 on the police, and then you see the fire tax increase of 35,702, equaling that 369,000 figure. Okay, so I think I've covered everything on that I'm supposed to state with the new truth in taxation stuff from the legislature. This is questions?
Just a comment, Mayor. if I
Yes.
may. So part of the law says that we need to have this available at the meeting, so I just want to note that it is here on this back table by the door. I have both the originally adopted version that we adopted when we presented the tentative budget, as well as this revised version that is presented before you tonight. So I just wanted to make note of that for the public, that it's there if they want a copy of it.
And thank you on that, because not only is it in the packet, but you have a handout there, and that's what this resolution is about, to include the property tax impact schedule as part of the fiscal year 2027 interim budget. So members of the public, those handouts are back there. So thank you. Anything else? Okay. Any further questions on that before I ask for a motion for resolution 2026-14? Not, then I'll ask for a motion on 2026-14.
I'll move that we approve resolution number 2026-14.
Second.
Motion is second. Further discussion? All right, Councilwoman Heyman, going to my right.
Aye.
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 Councilman Baker?
Nay for reasons previously stated.
Okay, that's 4-1, that passes. So we are now on to item number 4. This is a public hearing matter. This is a public hearing on executive municipal officers' compensation. And this is why Nate came up to the front. I think you have information in your packet, but he's going to go over this in a little more detail. Right, Nate?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this law was put into effect 2 or 3 years ago that requires us, before we have a hearing on the final budget, that we need to hold this hearing regarding municipal executive officers' compensation that's being proposed in the budget. So the law defines an executive officer as the city manager, assistant city manager, the city attorney, the head or chief of a department or division, and the assistant chief or deputy of a head or chief of a department or division. So before you, we have in the second paragraph in that packet, we list out all the different positions that affects. You'll note that for compensation increases, we have the proposed 2.9% cost of living increase. And then that second item, we put a 0 to 5% discretionary merit increase. And the reason we put 0 to 5 is because we follow the same format that we've discussed, that each department is allocated 2% to be allocated among the department, which means that a department head or one of these employees may get a little bit more than the 2% or a little bit less depending on merit. So we just put that 0 to 5 just to cover the broad spectrum of it.
So could they all get 5?
In theory, yes, we could.
Because with the regular employees, if you give somebody a little more, you've got to give somebody a little less.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want employees to feel like we're doing something different.
Yeah, no, we're following the same procedure that we do for the entire city. They're just part of it. All these executive officers they follow the same protocol. So in theory, is it possible? Yes. In practice, has it happened since I've been here? No.
But so I don't understand why I mean, the employees can get 0 to 2%, and we're saying they can get 0 to 5.
No, the employees can get, there's no real limit, other than the department gets 2% as a whole, and they can allocate it where they see fit based on merit. So that means you can get more than 2%, or you can get down to 0. So that's why we put that broad spectrum of 0 to 5.
But the overall department
But the
cannot
overall
exceed 2%.
Correct.
So it is the same
But he
as-
just said, yes, they could all get 5.
I agree, but I'm wondering if he was not understanding what you were asking. Can you just clarify?
It's what you said, the entire department still has that 2%, so.
There's a cap of 2% on the entire department's budget. Could all of the municipal officers get 5%? Potentially, but they still have to be a total of 2%
That means
total.
none of the employees would get a raise
Am I
to
getting
help
it,
fund
or is that?
You what?
None of the employees would get a raise below supervisor if that was the case. They'd all, to make up the 5% for all these positions, their leadership positions.
So it comes out of that same,
The same pot. So public works
Okay.
is public works. Police is police. It's not a separate.
okay, I was thinking this was separate, I just didn't want them to feel like we
No,
were.
no, it's within their department still.
Oh, I
Okay.
think that was a good point to bring out.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. And while there's no vote on this, there is a public hearing that needs to be had.
Okay?
With this new change in the statute, they now describe municipal executive officers, but they also talk about statutory officers. And you can adopt statutory officer compensation by ordinance after a public hearing. So we're having this public hearing on statutory officers, which would be city treasurer, finance director, city attorney, city manager.
Police chief.
Police chief, and then, which are statutorily appointed, and then also the public hearing on the municipal compensation. So they overlap, but there's a few different positions. So just
So
wanted
it's
to
a-
clarify that.
So is the city manager a statutory officer or municipal executive officer?
Both,
Both.
Okay,
Depends on your form of government.
as is the city attorney and the police chief.
the three are,
But the city recorder is an appointed statutory officer, and the treasurer, but they are not under the definition of executive municipal officer,
interesting.
just to make it fun.
Wow,
Uh,
that's complicated.
Question?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman Banger.
Just curious, in the last 2 or 3 years, what % has this number been for administrative staff?
Just on average, you mean, for all those positions?
Yeah, this year we're considering 5% as we are for the whole city. What % was given in the last 2 or 3 years?
I don't know specific employees, but again, we follow the same process that the department's allocated 2%. So the average throughout the city has been 2%.
Well, but there's been a cost of living increase plus the potential merit increase of 2. I'm just curious, that totals 5 this year, or it's proposed at 5. What's it been last, have they consistently been making 5% a year more?
No, so the cost of living has been based on CPI for the western region from December to December. So that's varied every year. I don't know if you remember what it was, Brand. I don't remember prior years exactly.
I don't know what it was last year.
It's kind of similar, I
It was,
think.
yeah, I think it was
I feel like it was
2.5?
close. Yeah, it might have been that.
I think it was
what I was
2.5.
thinking, but I don't remember.
I got it real quick. It's a bookmark for me.
Rick, when you're asking 5%, are you asking about COLA and merit collectively?
It's 2.5.
Am I
Yes,
understanding what your question is? Okay.
yes.
2.5 last
I
year.
think, it depends, because the COLA has varied from year to year. There was one year right after COVID that it was, I think we were at 7% total. because it
6.2 in
was-
2022. It was 6.2 then and 3.6 in 2023.
But this 0 to 5%, Rick, is just the COLA. It isn't including the cost
It's-
of living.
No,
It's for the
zero,
merit. It's for the merit.
2.9% is COLA, he said, correct?
Yes,
And the rest
everybody-
is merit, totaling 5% this year. If it's been 6 and 7 in years past, I find that's important information for me to understand. I believe we're being plenty liberal.
So in theory, this year, someone could make up to 7.9% in a raise. So if they're given the 2.9% in the COLA and the 5% in the merit, they'd be at 7.9%. That would be the max you would see, not just these officers, executive officers, but also the staff would be probably around the same amount. Again, their staff is not restricted to the 0 to 5%, just the executive officers are. But again, you won't see staff. With the 2% bucket that you have for departments to work on, it's hard to get to 5%.
Because the minute you do that, you're going to impact any other employees that maybe were also deserving.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have really good department heads that I don't think they would give it to the employees before they would take it for themselves.
They're very careful with how they use this to motivate or whether it's because reward them for doing a great job or motivating them to be better. The department heads really take advantage of this to help guide and the staff.
I think for me, this particular thing, it does give our department heads that flexibility to reward, but also it's not so significant of, the 2% collectively over a few employees. It's hard. I agree with Brant's comment, but I think it's important that we really do give them that opportunity to hang on to our employees that are working really hard and, meeting metrics that have been set for the year. So I think I'm okay with what we're doing.
Keeping with what Nate said, what's in our paperwork here, just so maybe we're all clear, we have a 2.9% cost of living, COLA increase, and a 0 to 5% discretionary merit increase, but the total amount budgeted for that is 2% of the department line item for salary and wages, right?
Correct.
Okay. And his question was prior years, and we're thinking it's similar without going back and looking at it for sure. Is that correct?
Yeah, our methodology has not changed in that we recommend the cost of living to be the CPI based, and then the 2% for each department to allocate for the merit. So that methodology has been here for as long as I've been here.
Is the merit typically 2%? I mean, it seems like that has typically been that way, but I mean, I think Councilman Baker asked a good question. He's trying to understand what's been done in the past, so I guess I'm thinking that might be helpful as well.
Yeah, I would say most of your employees are about 2%, but as Brant mentioned,
But I mean, each year when you come and present the budget, it seems like that merit has typically been.
And I believe we reduced it this year.
The
From last
2%
year.
has been the proposal for 7 years now. So
Okay.
CPI
Okay.
plus 2% has been the way we've done it the last 7 years.
So the COLA varies, the 2% has been the same for 7 years. I'm just trying to get that, provide that standard basis for
And then this
Councilman
next year, we'll do a
Baker.
compensation study to see where we are. And the hope is that we have maintained fair competitive wages. But it's important to check ourselves against our neighboring cities and other cities. So we'll find out where we are in the next, and we'll determine if in 7 years the methodology has worked, and if not, then maybe we need to make some changes to the methodology. So that'll be an opportunity to reevaluate how we do things after we do the compensation study.
All right, thank you. You're not voting on anything here, but like Nate says, this is required by law to do a public hearing on this. So I will go to the public hearing in regards to executive municipal officers' compensation. Any of the member of the public is free to comment. Just state your name and where you're from. That is now open. Seeing nobody online, right, Jennifer? Seeing nobody commenting, I will close that public hearing. And like I say, we're not voting on anything here, but if you need further clarification before we go to our next line item, which is
Mayor, sorry, could I just make a comment on
Yeah.
that last item? So, the public hearing that you announced was only on the executive municipal officer compensation, which is accurate. What, my statement that we were combining them is not true. We scheduled this as a completely separate, because the law does require that that public hearing has to be separate. And so we are doing the public hearing for the statutory officers with the next item, which is the compensation.
right, right. And I think I said that we were going to public hearing for the executive municipal
Yes,
officer.
you did. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so we will not be having another public hearing on the employee compensation schedule that we go to next. And that's where I just give, before we go to that one, is giving you an opportunity to, council, to have all your questions satisfied. So hearing nothing else coming forward, then I will go to item number 5 on the agenda. This is the public hearing on the employee compensation schedule. This one does have an ordinance, 2026-15. So, Nate, you want to give us any further background on this?
Yeah, no, it's, as Lisa mentioned, each year we update our employee compensation schedule with any changes to our positions and ranges. You'll see the attached schedule there, and for this year, it just reflects a 2.9% difference above last year.
And just a reminder, the way our ranges work and the way we maintain our competitive, or fair, I shouldn't say competitive, it's fair wages, is that we shift the pay scale with the COLA. So some cities will keep it stagnant, so employees start topping out and things like, so we shift, the 2.9% will shift all the wages. Now, so it just keeps it updated. And so again, hopefully the compensation schedule, the compensation study will show that we have been maintain that 60% market rate. That's the hope.
Which is hopefully what we've done. That's the goal, right?
Yeah, 60% market rate.
So you probably have all seen this before. It's there in your packet, the employee compensation schedule, the ranges with the minimum, mid, maximum. So those are there for all the positions, annual and hourly amounts. So that's what the ordinance is about to approve, but we do have to do a public hearing. And I'll go to public hearing unless you have more questions on that schedule first. Okay, so now we are going to a public hearing in reference to the employee compensation schedule. So any of the member of the public, you're open to state any questions you have or comments that you have. Just state where you're from and your name, and that public hearing is now open. Seeing no comments, I will close that public hearing, and we will come back to that employee compensation schedule, which is part of ordinance 2026-15. Any further questions on what we are doing there or on that? Okay, then I would look for a motion on in reference to ordinance number 2026-15.
I'll move that we adopt ordinance number 2026-15.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, further discussion? All right, let's vote. Councilwoman Hurst going to the right.
Aye.
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 Councilman Banger?
Yeah, Councilman Bangeter, given the climate we're in, I think we could set a little better example, tighten the belt a little more. I understand and I appreciate we have wonderful employees. They deserve more money than they could ever be paid. But I think in a year that we're suggesting a 15% increase and other considerations, it's a little too liberal, and I think that we could have saved a little bit of money there and still appreciate, love, and help our employees. The only way to do that, it's not the only way to show and give that gratitude and appreciation to financially reward them to degrees that we all wish we could do to even greater amount. And specifically and understandably with the administrative part, I think an example could be set there. So I'm going to vote nay.
All right, that motion passes 4-1. Okay, let's go to item number 6. This is the Justice Court Judge Compensation. This is Resolution 2026-15. I'm kind of excited for this one. This is kind of neat. Nate knows my feeling on this one. So Nate, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully you've had a chance to read the attached letter that we received from the state regarding the judge's compensation. In a nutshell, how it works is the state legislature sets the range, the salary for a district court judge, and then from there, a full-time justice court judge's salary is set, and then for a part-time judge, like we have in our justice court, the salary range is set based on the workload of a full-time justice court judge. So according to the state's administrative offices of the court, they say that our justice court has the workload at 22% of the workload of a full-time justice court judge. And you can see that it recommends, or that it sets the salary range at $34,611 to $44,500. Another rule that the state has is that the judge should receive generally the same compensation increase as the average employee of the municipality that they serve. And then the third stipulation is that despite fluctuations in workload, the state constitution does not allow a judge's salary to be reduced during his or her term in office. So you can see that because of that, we recommend keeping the judge's salary, that it remain at $61,170.75. And that's because although the workload has decreased, and even though he's above the range, we cannot lower his salary because of the state constitution. So we're recommending that we just keep his salary the same. Is that clear? Did I cover everything? Okay.
Yes, well said.
So you'll see a letter in there, and this is where, and God bless our legal people, including my father, who's, bless him, he was an attorney and a judge. But their letter doesn't make any sense, because they put in black that they highlighted bold that they recommend we pay our judge 34 to 44, but yet we're paying him 56. So they don't make any sense to me at all whatsoever. Because they say that in their letter, and that's where I said to Nate, well, then I guess we need to drop it. I appreciate what Judge Miller does, but if his workload's decreased, and that's what they're suggesting, and that's in their letter, well, I've always been taught that what's in writing is a legal document, that somehow we got to, did the state law or whatever to supersede what the rules are and go to what they suggest in their letter. So that's where Nate heard it from me on that one. So, so you know, I get this letter coming to me, and oh, great, that's what we're paying our judge. But But no, we have to pay more because of what he just said, so. So does everybody understand that one? Or any other questions?
Well, can I just clarify? So is he's getting a COLA increase or something? What is that statement about he has to be increased at the same average pay increase for all county or municipal employees?
So this is kind of the mayor's point where it gets confusing, because he should receive that same increase as the average. So I would say for Centerville, the average would be the 2.9% COLA plus a 2% merit. However, he's already above his range.
So because he's above, he doesn't get the COLA and okay.
So last year, he got I don't remember what the increase was. It was a small increase because he was maxed out at the top of the salary range. So he didn't get the full average increase. But last year, he was topped out at the range, but then our workload decreased this year, so now he well exceeds the range.
So last year, the workload was higher and
It was about 30%. This has been
he was about 30% last year?
30% workload,
Okay.
and this year we're 22%.
Which is referencing the previous year, right? So it's not.
Right. Yeah.
So for the last few years, we've had this issue where he's either been maxed out at the range, or I think 2 years ago, he was above the range, and we just kept it steady. So yeah, this has been a reoccurring thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's been like at like above or at the top of the range. The 22% workload, I think, is where I'm getting a little concerned, because I'm thinking.
But the next letter you will see, we've seen more activity in the court, so I anticipate that workload. And next
Do you think
year's
this is
letter
just
will
an
go back up to
unusual-
30% or
okay.
so. I anticipate that. But
Is that why some cities or jurisdictions change judges a lot? So if we had another judge, would we bring them in low? I mean, is that why sometimes people change judges a lot?
I don't think they change, they're elected, so they're elected to 6-year terms. So I don't necessarily think they change, other than the judge decides they want to step down and no longer want to be a judge.
Okay.
But if they run for reelection, I don't know, 95% of the time they're reelected, so
Retention election.
they're retention election, and generally they're retained at a high rate. So usually it's the judge who retires or removes themselves.
Or there's an age limit. I
So
can't
Judge
remember,
Miller
70 or
has to run
75?
every so many years to stay our judge.
He doesn't really run, it's just, it's a retention. It's just, remember on your
Up on your
ballot,
ballot.
it'll say, shall this judge be retained?
So nobody else can come in and try and go against another.
No, right. I mean, I don't know, that's when I see the ballot, that's what it says. Shall this person be retained?
I don't think all judgeships are that way. You can have, people can file to run with some of the judge positions, can't they?
Nope.
When they do away with that?
Well, in other states, you're
In other
correct.
states, yeah, out in Utah, all judges are appointed.
When they do away with that?
Oh, before I was aware.
Because my dad ran for district court judge. That's how he got in, so, because he was a politician beforehand. Guess they can't do that anymore. That's good to know. Okay. It's just a yes or no. Okay. All right, further questions on that?
What would happen if they get no's?
But then they wouldn't be elected, and then we would appoint a new judge.
So do they have to get a certain amount of yeses?
50%.
50%,
50 plus 1, whatever it might be, yeah.
Just I mean, I think our judge is fine. I'm not, nothing to do with our judges. This is just all interesting information.
It is fascinating. And Judge Miller is in, I think, his 3rd or 4th year of a 6-year term.
Okay. This isn't a public hearing matter. Further questions on it? There's a resolution with this one. So if not further questions, then I need a motion on the resolution 2026-15.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2020-15, fixing the compensation of the municipal justice court judge of the Centerville City Justice Court.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Further discussion? Councilman Plummer going to the right.
Aye.
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 Councilman Bader?
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. Okay, let's go to item number 7. This is a public hearing matter. This is the fiscal year 2027 interim budget, resolution 2026-16. You have a bunch of information in your packet, but Nate, what has changed since they approved the tentative budget 4 weeks ago? Anything?
Just the items that we talked about last week, which are the related to training and education, and the mayor and council budgets, and the admin budget, as well as the community services budget. They've all decreased based on our discussion at our last meeting. The only other slight change that we had is you'll notice on the revenue that our property tax now has a new line called property tax increase. And the reason for that is because of the new law that was passed this year that says that the city needs to set aside in a restricted budget account an amount of the taxing entity's general fund revenue that is no less than the amount of the additional ad valorem tax revenue that would be generated by the taxing entity's proposed tax increase. So that is, you'll see that $369,103 is set aside in that special revenue line that's titled property tax increase. And again, that's based on that new law. Just to remind you of the other code, that we do need to adopt a budget by June 30th unless the city is pursuing a property tax increase through truth in taxation, in which case we will adopt what we now call an interim budget, and that is to get us from July 1st until a final budget is adopted. And so that's what you have before you tonight is the interim budget. Just a couple of timeline items. The new deadline for the county to get us the tax figures is June 12th or 13th. So we do not have our tax figures yet, but then we do need to set the rate by June 22nd, so we'll do that at our next council meeting. So right now, again, I just left our property tax revenue the same as we received this year, and then have that separate line for the potential tax increase. But next meeting, you'll be able to decide, or you'll be able to set the rate and set the truth in taxation hearing. Is there anything else you want me to add, Brant?
Do you want to mention the open house potentially?
Oh, yeah, so we did hold one open house. My opinion is that a lot of people don't attend until they get notified by the county that the taxes are going to be increased. So those, the letters will be sent by the county to each resident and business towards the end of July. So I think Brant and I discussed, I think it'd be a good idea to hold another open house in August before our truth and taxation hearing. I think you might get a little bit better turnout, or at least pique people's interest a little bit more.
Well, and they'll know exactly what the impact is, so when we meet with the residents, we can help them understand their property tax bill and all that.
I like that.
We'll schedule another one. Because you'll definitely have a lot more questions. You see this often where residents may not know what's happening at this level where we are until they get that notice and see what the impact is to them, and then they'll have questions, and we want to create the opportunity to answer those questions.
So you're talking like the week before the 25th?
Mm-hmm.
A
Week or two before?
That's when the council set truth and taxation meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
I appreciate that they're, giving a couple of opportunities. Sometimes people are busy in one moment and not later. I think it's really important that we give them plenty of opportunity to understand, learn, comment, so that they can be part of that process.
If they have any questions in the meantime, they're welcome to give me a call or email, and happy to talk it over with them. Historically, we have tabled this item until we get our tax figures. I don't have a strong opinion either way. If you want to adopt the interim budget now or table it to the next meeting, I'm fine either way.
If they table, how long can we table for?
So we have to have it adopted by June 30th,
So it'd be the next
to the
meeting.
next meeting.
So it'd be giving them a couple more weeks to read and digest whatever the information is in the interim budget, which may be appropriate, in my opinion.
We've done it in the past. This is a little different this year in the fact that there's still time, I guess, as far as the truth and taxation portion of it, but yeah, I'm fine to leave it open. We've always done it.
I'm fine to
I think it's
table it
great
tonight.
if somebody wasn't able to be here tonight or missed that, this was going on, we just give them a little more time to get an email in or a.
Historically, you have tabled till the next meeting. I will say with the new law, I think we definitely have been more upfront and open about the changes, and I think there's been a lot of more information we've provided prior to this than we have in the past. So tabling it, I don't know if necessarily it's necessary anymore, because the August 25th meeting is where you're going to discuss that 15.84%. And that's where we really want the input from residents, because that's already scheduled. So, I mean, you have input today. Doesn't necessarily change the August 25th meeting, really, at this point. But again, it's up to you how you want to proceed.
But the person who makes that motion can take some time to think about it while the public responds, because we have to have a public hearing first on it. Let's go to that. So I'm now opening the public hearing for the fiscal year 2027 interim budget. Anybody that's inclined to comment, just state your name and where you're from. Seeing no comments, I will close that public hearing, and we can come back to, please make sure that you have Nate here, that you've asked any questions from what he did since the tentative budget took place. He's gone over that with you. It's in your material. Be clear on all that, and any other questions you have that you may have of him or Brant. If you don't have any further questions, then look for some sort of motion on resolution 2026-16.
Mayor, may I just ask one question?
You bet.
This is to Councilman Plummer, specifically, Brian, with your experience with appraisals and all, do you anticipate property values being appraised higher this year and perhaps generating a little more revenue that in itself? Or I'm just curious what your feel is for that.
That wouldn't give us any more revenue because we're still only allowed to collect the same amount of money. So the only thing that gives us more revenue is new builds. If we didn't have any new builds, even if the appraisals went through the roof, we would still collect the same amount of sales tax.
Property tax.
Property tax.
And Councilmember Meekum is correct in that assessment and statement. And Councilman Bangerter, yes, I do have some insight on that, and I would say that based upon a lot of new procedures and tools that we've used at the county assessor's office, that in fact values will be going up.
Be more accurate, maybe.
Values will be, currently the law states that we must find fair market value on all commercial and residential real property. And that is what we have done at the assessor's office. And based upon market conditions, we have seen those values increase.
And in theory, if the value goes up 20% across the board, certified tax rate goes down 20%, right?
That is
So
correct.
the tax rate goes down, so it doesn't collect any more revenue. It stays the same. It's just your tax rate now goes down to compensate for that increase in value. So, anyway, that's what'll happen.
I don't know how many states, but there's not too many that are that way, correct?
In Arizona, we did it,
Yeah, so.
had the same.
So basically, if what Councilman Plummer says is true, people get their property tax bills and they've gone up in value of their homes, their assessment, the tax rate will go down and their taxes from the city should remain the same unless you approve a tax increase in the truth in taxation process.
Okay, thank you. So, but I do understand there, the minimal amount of new builds, new homes or businesses, that's a small effect, but that'll have a little bearing on taxes, correct?
Correct.
New growth is an addition to.
Right. Thank you.
So I have a weird question. So we've picked our three things which we're upping our property tax for. So if come August, we decided not to, we had 1,000 people here and we decided not to raise taxes. Do we have to cut those three things, or can we go back through our budget and decide how we would do it? I mean, I know that's a way if, but just out of curiosity, do we have to say, okay, those three things, I mean, those are things we have to have. I'm the new officer, we wouldn't have to have. We've still got to pay the insurance, we've still got to pay the fire. So would you go back in, can you still pick, where we approve this budget, can you still go back in and pick and choose to make it balance?
So, again, if you look at the property tax impact schedule, we have a shortfall of $1.5 million balancing this budget. Now, again, we have a lot of one-time costs in there, and we have a fund for those one-time costs, but we do have a shortfall of 1.5. So we're using 1.17 million to balance this budget. That's from that fund for those capital projects, which is still uncomfortable because that fund is not growing. We're tapping into that fund, and that's not sustainable to tap in that much. So this will generate $369,103. So again, so your options are, if you decide not to do a property tax increase, the medical has to happen, and our fire assessment has to happen. So the decision or our recommendation to staff will be to use more fund balance to pay those bills. Now, the police officer is entirely up to you because that's not a must-have. We can live without, or we can't live without. So that you could eliminate and save those funds. Unless you wanted to go forward, then you.
But I think what Councilman Minkum is asking, I think it's a fabulous question. I would think that the new law wouldn't limit us. If we don't raise the $370,000, that we could take that $370,000 from somewhere else, even though that's what we have on the property tax impact statement.
Really, we're just trying to be open and transparent of what our challenges are, the increasing costs that we're facing as a city. The $370,000 is not all of the increases in inflation that we experienced this year. I mean, overall our increases in inflation, our personnel costs for all of that, I mean, we're looking at $700,000 is what our increases were, right?
That kind of panicked me when I read that. I don't know why. I thought, do we have to just?
We just can't spend the money, right?
Okay, I get it now.
So this is where it gets tricky, is we're asked to put this into a reserve. So in theory, we're putting $369,000 in this reserve account we can't touch. However, we're going to have medical. We're going to have South Davis fire assessment bills we need to pay. So, but we won't dip into that 369 or that 83,401 for medical until later in the year, hopefully after truth and taxation either passed or we decide we're going to use fund balance, right? So, but we will not recruit for a police officer until that certified tax rate happens. Our meeting in August, the certified tax rate happens in September, county processes it in September. To the chagrin of the chief, we just can't start recruiting that position because the argument is us as staff can't put you as elected officials in a position that you don't have a choice. And if we've recruited and we got someone in mind that we want to hire, you as a council can say we have no choice. We're going to hire, they've already hired the person, so we got to pay it. That's what the state legislature is trying to prevent from happening, which rarely happens, but those one-off situations cause some concern at the state level, which, again, we're not mad at it as staff. We're not opposed to this bill I mean, we look somewhat foolish because we're kind of stumbling through all these requirements, but we actually like these changes and how open and more transparent we are with the community and why we need the increase. So, sorry, I went on a spill, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you've got to find other funding.
Okay.
And to further that, you have until, or before September 1st, you have to approve a final budget. So regardless of what happens in the truth and taxation hearing, you then have until September 1st to adopt a final budget.
Okay,
So,
that was
yeah, you
my
can
question. Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
That was so much easier to say, Nate. But I felt like my answer was very helpful too.
Cliff Notes version.
Good job, Nate.
I just closed the public hearing, so we were back to what you wanted to do in regards to the resolution before you.
Looking for a motion?
Yeah.
Or discussion? I'll
Motion, I think we've done discussing.
move that we adopt resolution number 2026-16.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second, so we need to vote on that. It means you're not putting it off, so Councilwoman Meekum.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, that passes 4-1. All right, let's go to, thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Let's go to summary action calendar. On our summary action, we have 2 items. We have a lane striping project in the amount of $35,100. We have a trip hazard grinding in the amount of $45,000. Any questions on these items on summary action? We have a couple people there that could probably help answer. If not, I try to always ask, these are obviously in the budget, right? Nate? So, but any questions on those specific things, where they're at, the bids? If not, then I'll look for a motion to approve the summary action calendar.
I had kind of a weird question that was brought up to me about a week ago that I hadn't thought of till I'm reading this. So they've repainted, I guess, the yellow lines fairly recently. And there's 2 of them in front of their home. They wanted to know how they could be on the grinding. I said, I don't think every yellow line's gonna get ground. They said, what if we were willing to pay for half? Would that put us closer to the top of the, I don't even know if we do that. Maybe if not, we should start and we could do twice as much. How much is it to grind one?
Mike's coming up.
So the cost depends on how much they gotta grind off. So Mark has his list. We've had several calls of people wanting us to bump him up or whatever, but he only has so much money. He picks the worst ones and we work ourselves down. So depending on where theirs is at, I don't know if paying half is an option. I mean, we gotta take care of the worst ones first.
Right.
So
I
that's
just
kind
was
of
a thought I had never thought about.
Yeah. So he has a list that he follows that is the worst going to the best, which,
So his list, how long is it, and how much do you expect to get done with the amount that we're?
I don't know what he's got on his list, to be honest with you, but he's still got a lot. I mean, it's so much they have. They come in, they grind.
I mean, if we're only gonna get a couple of these done, and
No,
that would
you're
be
gonna-
something I would like to.
You'll get a lot done for that.
Okay.
7 or 8 years ago, our quote to fix all of our sidewalks was like $1.2 million to fix. And again, it is a liability. If there's accidents, we try to outline and fix the biggest ones first. But again, that's a huge task of trying to repair all of them.
So I wondered if they're,
Prioritize.
not necessarily this year, but if that was a thought of, I can't remember, it used to be 100, so I don't know if it's 120,000, whatever we do for sidewalks. If it's 120, if 20,000 of that was left to be matched with people. So we did the first 100,000 for the worst spots in Centerville, and then that 20,000 could be matched with people that were willing to match it, so we could actually get $40,000 worth done.
Yeah, so many communities I've been a part of have that matching program
Do
for
they?
new sidewalks, and it's not a bad deal. You do actually get quite a few people who want to participate. Usually it's to install sidewalk a lot of the times, not necessarily repair the sidewalk, but it'd be an interesting thing that I'm not.
It's just a thought. Like I said, when she asked me, I was like, I don't
I
know.
would always certainly encourage him to get with Mark and have him just look at it and see what it is. I mean, it goes by case, but the thing you have to realize is we can generate a list this year and say, this is our plan for the next 5 years, but you have to realize with the tree growth or whatever's causing the problem for it to uplift, it may change from the very best that we'd never touched to the worst in 1 year. I mean, that's just depending on how much the trees grow and what have you, or whatever's causing the change.
We had that, Mackenzie did our study as an intern way back in the day, and I think it is time that we update that study. It is marked in our GIS where all these locations are. I don't know if we're keeping up with that, Mike.
We keep using the list, but as anything, data gets old and needs to be refreshed.
We do need to go out and reassess where our sidewalks are. So that should be on the list.
I don't know if that answers your question.
It does,
but I would
thanks.
always encourage him to get with Mark and let him make the session on what, if it's something he feels like he can work out or whatever, we're more than happy to try to take care of whatever we need to on it.
Okay, well, like I said, just a thought. Thank you.
So I think, we allow Mark to make the decision, so I always let him refer to Mark on that, because he's the one that's keeping the fingerprint on everything that's going on.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. So, we still have in front of us, did you have a question on something? On
No,
Okay.
but I'm happy to make the motion.
it? You betcha, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid award for the lane striping project to RW Striping in the amount of $35,100, and that we also award the bid to trip hazard grinding on sidewalks and ADA ramps to Precision Concrete Cutting in the amount of $45,000. I'll just note that in the case of Precision Concrete Cutting, there were no other bidders, so.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Let's vote. Councilwoman Hayman, going to my right.
Aye.
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 Councilman Banger?
Aye.
That motion
Aye.
passes. That motion passes 5-0. All right, thank you. Let's go to minutes. This is the minutes review and approval for May 19th work session and May 19th city council meeting. Is there any changes to those minutes you have in front of you? If not, a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I have one suggestion for a change, please.
Okay,
I don't have that right in front of me here, but it referred to the comment where it was suggested that maybe garage doors be replaced as reducing our budget. It says garage doors, that should say garage door automatic openers.
Rick, are you referring to work session or city council meeting minutes?
And Jennifer, I'm sorry, I can't remember which meeting that was. I can't bring it up on my screen here where I'm at.
Did you say it said garage door?
It did, replacement of garage doors.
Replacement?
instead of garage door,
Oh, yep, right here,
Miscellaneous
garage door
budget.
replacement.
Yeah, on line 36 in the
It's work session.
work session.
And it just should say garage door automatic opener.
Okay, that's great.
okay. With that change, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that passed unanimously. Let's go to our council report. Today we have Councilmember Hurst reporting on her committee assignments.
Okay, the sewer district, I would really like us to have Matt Myers come and present, just give his update of the construction on the north plant. I know we've been busy with work sessions, but typically we've had them come at least every couple of years. It's been a while, so, and he has offered to do that. He's willing to do that anytime, so.
No specific dates to fit him in?
He said he'll meet our schedule, so
Okay.
I think as long as we just give him enough notice,
Okay.
you know.
Do you want that a work session or regular meeting?
I don't know that it matters. I mean, maybe a regular meeting, so if public's here, they can hear the,
I think that's right. I think during business presentation, just so that it's,
yeah.
people have an idea. So I just sent a reminder to Jennifer.
I just feel like sometimes I tell you guys what's going on, but he would give you, like, he would be able to answer questions better. I don't always understand every nuance of what gets covered, and it is a very big project, so. Also, the Parks and Rec Committee, they're so amazing. They're doing such a great job. They are planning to do a time capsule and an art project for the 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence. And they are also starting Movies in the Park this Friday at 7 p.m. They'll have Scales and Tells, which is kind of fun for the kids. And then, I don't remember what the movie is at 9. Do you remember? It will tie into that, so.
Zootopia, I don't know.
It might be, actually.
If it's about
It'll be a kid's movie. This one is specifically for kids. They kind of have different themes for the 4th of July. They're gonna do, it'll be on the 3rd of July. I think
Zootopia 2.
Zootopia 2, you were right, there you go.
So awesome. That movie's great.
For the 3rd of July, it'll be a league of their own, and I think they're gonna have a concert before, like some kind of concert entertainment.
They try to get local bands.
Yeah. So anyway, those I think are being advertised through the social media and whatnot, so you can watch for those there. They do 5, I think, in the summer, so. The Recreation District, I have mentioned before that the last payment on the bond for the construction of the rec center has been paid, and they are just considering potential expansion. No decision has been made whether or not that will go to I don't know if it's a truth in taxation, but anyway, that's coming up. So I'm just letting you be aware that board is discussing that and whether or not they will consider doing expansion. You know, it wouldn't necessarily be an increase in property tax per se, but it would continue the line item for the, with a new bond, but same. I think the idea is that they feel like they could do some expansion and keep it the same. So I'm not saying that's right or wrong, I'm just giving you the information. And then I really do think we should, I'm not sure what's the right way to do this, but all of the residents in Centerville can go to the rec center for free on a day if we want to select a day. And I think we should do that. But I don't know that would be something that staff probably just needs to reach out to Tiff Miller and say, this is the day we would like. So, but I think we should give our residents that opportunity and then advertise for it. And then also, I think that Tiff Miller should also come and present to City Council. So you guys can maybe hear a little bit more about what he's planning on.
When's the last time Tiff came? Don't we get him about yearly usually?
Seems like he was here more recently than the sewer district, but I just had that thought.
Pretty sure it was, yeah.
And if it's been in the last year, I don't think, I think once here is plenty.
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't, I just.
Yeah, I don't know when he came last, I can't remember either, so. I don't have anything else other than the LPC started yesterday, but I wasn't able to attend, so the mayor will have to report on that.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Hurst? Anything pressing in any of your boards or committees that you're over?
Just quickly, you mentioned the time capsule.
Yeah.
And the committee was talking about the council and the mayor and us writing letters. And that's something that, just to give you a heads up, that is something to consider. The ceremony to close the capsule will be on our
4th of July.
4th of July
Like,
celebration.
kind of probably during the evening entertainment.
And it's going to be a nice capsule that they're going to afford, and there'll be items that are placed in that capsule, such as, I think we talked about a flash drive and maybe some, I don't know, pictures or some items that might be small enough to fit in there, but they had mentioned or suggested that we write letters of how we would see Centerville in 50 years. As to that would be when they would reopen the capsule at
Yeah.
the 300th
And,
anniversary of the United States.
yes, and I think another point we should bring up is, we may have suggested that they not actually bury the time capsule, but maybe place it somewhere out here in the entryway of City Hall so that it can be
Forget.
found.
Where do we bury that thing? I mean, the idea of a flash drive is fascinating to me. It's like seeing a 5 1/4 floppy today pop out. Like, what are we supposed to do with this?
How do we play? Well, that's what we thought would be fun. That would be part of the fun. Does anyone have an old VHS cassette tape player?
ET that came free with the VCR.
Yes.
And that was mentioned and considered, but there was some hope that they would still have some technology to access the antiquated technology of our day. So, unless we have some other options, which would be maybe some hard copies.
No manual tools. They wouldn't have manual tools in the future to even open it, though. It'd be all done with your mind and AI, so
Could be.
they couldn't even open it.
Maybe that can just,
Sorry. Right, Councilmember Heyman? Yeah, he's taking over.
Just a heads up, that may be something, I'm starting to think of about what I might want to say in a letter, and you all might want to have an opportunity.
Glad you
It's going to come
remembered that.
fairly quick.
Yeah, we only have a month
Good
before
idea.
they'll be closing the capsule. I don't think it's super huge. It sounded like it's a little limiting what can be put in the capsule.
Correct, yeah, it's,
But they're doing that, and they're also doing it sounds like a really fun art project that will involve the community. It will be the Delahunties who own Little Picassos. Are they Little Picassos?
Pint-sized Picasso.
Height-sized Picasso. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter what, but they are helping with it, and it will be a community-engaged project where, they'll bring it to one of the movies in the park, and the kids will get to participate, and they're trying to figure out how to display that and get it out so people can see it. They've been very involved in that, which is awesome.
Thank you. Nobody else has anything pressing with their committees? All right, we'll go to mayor report. Since our last council meeting, we did have that open house. I'm glad we're suggesting doing one in the future. Thank you for council members that came. I was here just at the very start, and I had a family commitment I had to be at, but I guess we didn't have a good turnout from the residents, but that's why we'll do it again. But thank you for those that were here for that. We had our annual Chambers lunch where the mayors report to the Chamber of Commerce, and 11 of us mayors were there. I missed last year's, I was out of 10 in DC, the only year I've missed, but I was there this year, and that's always an enjoyable meeting, and just reported about some of the things that we had going on within the city. On Memorial Day, we actually have two programs a year over at our Veterans Cemetery, or Veterans Memorial, excuse me, in Bountiful. And I think we're all aware that there's sections in that for all 5 of our South Davis cities. So we had the Memorial Day program over there on Memorial Day at 11. And it's a nice way to start your Memorial Day. A couple of facts that came from that. you're probably all aware that at 3 o'clock, you should take a minute of silence to remember our veterans on Memorial Day. Another thing that came out of it from one of the talks was that in Arlington National Cemetery, there's 260,000 flags placed, and they are all placed meticulously a boot length apart. They make sure it's the exact boot length apart from the headstone to honor the fallen that are in Arlington National Cemetery. There's some other unique things as well too. The flyover is always nice. The 21 gun salute. There was some wonderful music as well too, so those happened on Memorial Day over there and Veterans Day ever since we opened that park. So something to think about doing in the future. Then the last thing is I went to LPC yesterday, and it wasn't substantive from a standpoint of, hey, these are the bills, because obviously they're out of session. So a lot of it was speculation of what might be coming up. They have a pretty good feel, and I feel they're probably right on most of these things. But one thing that I wanted to ask your opinion on is they had these advisory groups. And one of the advisory groups they have going right now is, over this summer, is about billboards, especially in those areas where there's going to be relocation of billboards because of expansion of freeways. Can you think of a city that's happening to? Ours is one of those. So my question is if we should have somebody on that advisory group from billboards, and what our stance is in relation to those billboards as well too, whoever we have on that advisory group. I was going to go up to Justin after and say, yeah, I think we need to have somebody on it, but I thought, I'm seeing you guys today, and I'll just run it by you, what your thought was of that advisory group. They have about 4 right now, and then they could have more in the future in different areas. But that one is formed right now, and so I don't know how concerned about that you are, if we want somebody on that advisory group or not, and what your feeling is. And if you want to call me or text or email me separately, then as you've had some chance to think about it, great. But that was just one area that I thought we might want to look at doing. I think that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, I think the billboard one is a great one. Just give some background. Some of the bills that we've fought the last 2-3 years.
Yes,
is
thanks, Brent.
Regan or any other billboard company having the ability to relocate their sign anywhere they want, even if it's in another city. Let's say North Salt Lake is impacted, a billboard, they can move it a mile north into another city and not necessarily have to go through local authority to get approval. There's even been some bills, like the St. George fought this, where they can move the billboard within 1 mile of the freeway into the city, and or some distance within a city, and say, we can move it here and remove all local authority or control. So we wouldn't have any say over any of that permitting. So it's been pretty aggressive. These billboard companies have a lot of persuasion at the state capitol, and they're really hard to fight off. So we need to get really aggressive, or we're going to lose all control of billboards and heights and LEDs. And some have been able to. We want to retro any of these billboards to be LEDs, the bright lights, and anywhere we want, regardless of zoning. So anyway, just so you know, it's been pretty crazy what they've been requesting and what bills have been considered at the state level.
I think considering the narrowness of our city and the impact that would have to homes, that is massive. Like, I think it impacts Centerville in ways that it just doesn't maybe impact every community. So I do think we need somebody to.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, as I was meeting with you, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but I says, we were talking about aesthetics along the freeway, and he says, well, the only thing we're known for is weeds and billboards. That's how I feel like our freeways are. You drive
What,
through
billboards?
Arizona. Weeds and billboards.
Oh.
And I think that's unfortunate. You drive through Arizona and any other states, they've got these beautiful freeway exits, and I know that costs money. I'm not saying we can afford that, but weeds and, so many billboards. It's so many.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that background, Brant, of what some of those bills have come up. That's, so we know our position on coming into the city and us losing control, that sort of thing. But unless somebody's passionate about it, being on that, you know, I was probably going to reach out to Justin and say, hey, I'll be on your advisory group, because I think that it affects us. We're one area that we're going to have the freeway lane change, so I don't think it hurts to let them know that we're involved and have somebody on that advisory group, so. That's all I have. Mayor's city manager report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just have a couple items. The first item, since Mayor had this question, I just want to share it with all of you, is the Mayor questioned, we've got this Main Street water line project happening, well, is that going to impact our parade route? And I think that was a fair question, so I asked Mike, and the contractor, it has actually agreed to that they have to remove all the equipment off. Hopefully they'll be out of the area moving northward and not impact the parade route. I just want to let you know that Mayor was thinking about it, so I'm sure many of you were thinking about it. So the contractor will need to remove all equipment from the area so we can do our parade, and if they're not out of the area, then they can bring it back. So Smoot Park will be the staging area for that equipment. Mike, did I miss anything? Okay, cool. I just want to make you aware of that.
They can't go too much further because they started now at that Stake Center, which is what, about 3-4 blocks from, because our work is from Chase to Jennings, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Also, just a quick follow-up. I'm going through an exercise right now, and I was speaking with Nate with it. There's been this push to eliminate property taxes across the country. We fought a couple of bills this year of property taxes. Governor DeSantis is recommending that in Florida. The question is, how does a city operate if there is no property taxes? If this truth in taxation's passed, we're looking at $2.7 million shortfall that we wouldn't be able to collect and generate. What would that mean for Centerville if you can't have that $2.7 million? And so, in response to potentially the state or the league asking this question, what would Centerville do? We're cutting our police force, we're shutting down parks, we're potentially charging fees to use our parks and use our facilities, we're charging different transportation utility fee that becomes more active. I mean, there's no other way to generate that revenue, but if you're losing 2.7 million, Chief, I'm sorry, you're losing 5 or 6 officers, right? If we can't afford that, I mean, that would be so damaging to figure out how we would operate a city if there were no property tax. So just so you know, I'm going through this exercise. What would Centerville be if there was no property tax? Now, I will agree that the most frustrating thing to me is that if someone pays off their $1 million home and they could lose their home for failure to pay property taxes, that drives me crazy. I disagree with that, but there's got to be other ways to figure this out. But no property taxes would be devastating for Utah.
So, out of curiosity, there are a few cities in Salt Lake, in Utah, that don't assess property taxes.
West Haven.
One of them has to be West Haven, who my brother-in-law's brother's the mayor of. So I went back, I was texting him throughout the session, and how many people they have, how many city employees they have, and I think Brant's right on it, because they don't have their own police force.
They contract with the county.
They contract with the county. And so when that's probably their biggest savings right there, but they don't have the coverage, protection-wise, from the county that we have as well either. He says it's still sustainable. The way they're growing, though, we'll see if it's sustainable.
They got a lot of sales tax, so they can live off that growth, for sure. Yeah. But when it becomes to a place where we're a mostly built-out city, you can't live off that growth. There's no growth.
I think not that we've ever not had the property taxes, but I think if you look at from the time that some of the big box stores were put in, we didn't have property tax increases for a long time because that sales tax was carrying and making it possible. I just think as growth slows, that starts to become difficult because our sales tax has kind of flatlined. Where
But I
they
would
may
think-
still be seeing that increase that we used to see.
Still healthy, it's just not growing.
I would think, though, if they actually took property tax away, they would have to give us a means of, I mean, they would have to raise sales tax or something. I mean, it would just be moving this tax to this tax.
the
They're not
fees
going to just
somewhere
wipe
else.
us off.
It's a user fee potentially,
A
like if you
user-
get pulled over, your ticket for your speeding ticket or whatever comes through the justice court might be $1,000 instead of 200. I don't know. A city in Iowa, because this is being discussed in Iowa, said we need a 24% increase in our sales tax. We need a 24% sales tax to maintain that difference. So it's going to come from somewhere.
The analogy of a three-legged stool, and you have your income tax, your sales tax, and your property tax all represent a leg, and if you take one of those legs away, you're not going to be able to sit. And they work very well together, and so it's difficult to do anything without all of them working together.
Well said, agreed. And
So this is analysis you're putting together for the league?
I'm putting it together for myself, anticipating if the question comes up from one of our representatives, this is what Centerville looks like, and this is what we're going to do to make up that difference. So it's not good. Again, we're potentially shutting down parks if we can't maintain and refine the fee. I jokingly said we'll have somebody standing outside Community Park charging $5 to enter and say, here, you can come $5 to enter the park. Now, would it be that? No, I don't think it would be that, but it would be a park impact or a park fee, like a transportation utility fee. You create a methodology and you charge the residents on that fee, and then you create that enterprise fund for parks, and that money that's collected from the residents through a fee, like the utility bill, then that would go towards parks. So,
Which, to me, you talk about fees versus this truth in taxation. I feel like the public is given a lot more ability to have input within the truth in taxation than a fee.
and you're also having the state legislature at the same time trying to restrict the fees we can charge, like broadband fees and other fees. And so there's these restrictions where they're saying you can't do this, but we're also going to restrict what fees you can charge. Really, anyway, got a lot of decisions to make, but it's a growing sentiment. There's petitions going around the state of Utah to eliminate property taxes, and I'm not sure. We had 6 property tax bills this last year.
We did.
Anticipate we'll have that
Yeah.
amount this next year.
Thank you. Anything
That's
else?
all I have, Mr. Mayor, unless there's questions for me.
Any questions for Brent? Right, let's move on. If there's nothing else, then, to bring up, then I would look for a motion to, leave city council to go to a closed session, not to return.
I will move that we go into closed session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation and discuss attorney-client matters privileged pursuant to Utah Code Section 78B-1-137 with no intent to return.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Need to do a roll call vote on it? Robin? It's yay or nay?
Yes.
You can make something else up.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Councilman Banger?
Yay.
All right, thank you.